I get into that theme song. I'm so happy you found that. Like I get so amped. It gets me going. I'm ready. Now that I've yelled at everybody, how are you doing tonight, Ezra?
I'm doing well. How are you, good sir?
I am beautiful. I am happy that it's finally getting over being so hot in Vacaville.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's nice to be able to just have, like, instead of, like, you know, when we started the show here in this Kyber cave and we would turn off the fans, I would be just drenching sweat. It's nice to be able to do the show and not be sweating.
It's nice to be cool for once.
Hey, you guys, what's up? Darth Morbius in England, right? I always get my people in other countries. I get my countries wrong. And, you know, he's been on enough times that I should know.
He'll say it.
So, as everybody, as we are, hey, Say Wong, my man. He's probably Say Wong is the only other person that I know. Holland. Man, how could I forget that, dude? Say Wong is the only other person besides Sith Cap that I know that goes to his mini cons in Northern California. What's up, my man, Say Wong? So, yeah, so we are in this interesting period at Kyber Cave. We are still, we're waiting for a couple of tools to get in. So we're about another week or two before we start production on our sabers. We just recently renamed our saber. I don't know. Do you happen to have a picture of the saber?
Not uploaded, but I can get one.
We are fantastic. Thank you for asking. Woo-hoo. I love that we have this connection to the whole planet. And Shane from the Batu Kyber Collective is in the house. He does all kinds of cool Kyber crystals, and his group, like, they make I think they do like the RDF coating inside the chips, and then I know that they paint them and make all kinds of dope Kyber crystals, lightsabers. Or did it happen? We have not yet have done the flow of the show, if that's what you're referring to, Shane. I'm gonna share a link. Just started a new Cal Kestis. Ooh. Cal Kestis blade style. So does that awesome. Now I'm wondering, does that mean a blade for the saber or blade style, like a fighting style? What are we talking about here?
I'm not too sure.
Oh, I see a link there. All right, so if you guys are online in the chat room right now, you can check out that link. I can't, click on it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we recently renamed our first production saber. It was the Ishtar Kadir, and that was just a little too hard to remember and to pronounce. So we changed the name. There you go. That is now our Kyber Cave's first production saber. It's going to be available in the Shoto and the regular standard length. As you can see, the shrouds right there, you can put them in the up or the down position. So that's with the shrouds down. And that brown is meant to look like the wrap. So if you wanted to wrap your saber, that's what that would look like. The little two holes right there, those are going to be your buttons, your ignition switches. And then it's hard to see, but there's some holes at the top. There's a set of two double set of holes. That's the best picture. Those are going to have wires. So there's going to be exposed wires on the outside of those. And then the shrouds you can get engraved. And when I made that shroud design, I meant it to kind of have the feel or emulate Darth Vader's TIE fighter wings. So I think from the top view, it gives it that good view. I actually like it really stripped down like that too. That's actually
Yeah.
without the shrouds and everything.
There was one. Here it is with all three. Well, all three designs of it. Let's see.
All right, so that's gonna be Kyber K's first saber. It is now named the Pure Blood. I was getting an inspiration from early Sith, but of course I can't use the name. Hey, Dark Wolf Sabers is in the house. What is up, Johnny Colado? And of course, there is the man who is going to be having our segment at the end of the show. Make sure to stay tuned after this fantastic interview to check out California. Wait, no, Comic-Con Adventures?
Comic-Con Adventures with your host, Kevin Hogan.
Yay! So this is going to be Kyber K's first saber. We hope to have it available and in production and ready for sale in roughly a month. We are going to have the Shoto version and the long version. Go back to that last picture real quick, Ezra.
All three?
Yeah, with all three on there. Like I said, so this here you can see the example with the emitter with the shrouds up, the shrouds down, or with no shrouds at all. And you can see where the windows are going to be cut there so that light comes up from underneath. Then the top one shows you what it looks like if it has a wrap on it, say a leather wrap. This was supposed to be kind of what I call a canvas saber. So the middle saber is really the one that's most representative of a canvas saber, meaning something that somebody could take and do their own etching, their own design, really make the saber their own. So that was kind of my idea when I was designing that. But that should be available for this holiday season. November 1st, we should have that ready for you.
Pre-orders are available now. If you look at the link scrolling across the bottom at kybercave.com.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and make sure to check out kybercave.com. We just added a whole bunch of stuff. We added a whole bunch of
Ultra Sabers.
No, you don't say that dirty word.
We added a bunch
company
of sabers.
Who will not be named, who must not be named. For those that may or may not have been following online, I have an open battle with a particular saber company right now that I'm not very happy with. I did an order for last year for the holiday. Some of you or many of you may know that Kyber Cave started off as a resale and repair company. So we would buy sabers from other companies, LGT, Ultra Sabers, Vader's Vault, Electrum, Saber Forge. We had a lot of different brands. But I did an order in August of last year that we just got a couple of days ago. So it took 14 months. 14 months. And this was the second order. The first order, they lost a $1,200 order. They lost, and I never got replaced. So I'm fighting with them right now. So we have a bunch of those sabers. Our sabers right now are in stock, and we can put those in the mail tomorrow. So make sure to check out our website. We also have a bunch of clearance things that Ezra has been working very hard. Zachary, what is going on? No, not a certain forge.
How does he say it? Ulta?
Oh, Ulta? Oh, yeah. When we were watching the video. Yes, not a certain forge, but a different company. In fact, I do have an advertising as our new sabers roll out. We are going to be putting out some advertising that are going to be shot directly at the company that shall not be named, at least at this time.
At this time.
But that's okay. We'll be covering our back. I can't. That's why I can't say it directly, right? Because then legally people could say that I'm gunning for things. But if you were just making your own assumptions in your head based on information that I may have put out there, then that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
So I am very excited about this show. We actually very funny. We did advertising for our guest tonight, and in the last 4 days, it picked up like 1,500 views or something like that. But then I posted out in the Saber groups this afternoon around 1, and then it picked up like another 1,500 in like just a couple of hours. So a lot of people are excited about tonight's show. But before we get to our main interview, we have another segment to do.
Yes, we do. Do
you want to set that up? Or do you want to talk about it, or should I talk about it?
I'll let you talk about it.
As always, we are very, very, very lucky to have the fantastic producer, Mr. James Kaiser, aka Darth Cephalus. He is up in Oregon, but as he is known as one of the OGs in the Saber community for what he does, which is flow, he knows a lot of people and then he's connected to a lot of different people and is meeting people all the time that are asking questions. So we are lucky enough that he brings us videos every week. And this week we have a brand new person that we have never had on the show. Is it Mitchell Harvey? Is that the name? Did I get it correct? Yeah.
I don't think so, my friend.
Did I not? I didn't even look at our posting. Do you have our flow ready to go?
Let's roll it,
Mr. Mo? Wow. Dude, he has created a brand new genre. He has created horror flow. He is like the Ozzy Osbourne of flow, dude. that was and I was right? The name
William.
Mitchell Harvey, right?
William.
William Harvey. Oh man, William Harvey. Thank you so much. That was his first time on our show, and as you can see, we have people on of all different levels doing all different types of things. That was really interesting how he incorporated the music and the editing. Like, that's the first time like I've ever felt creeped out watching a flow. Dude, I think that was a perfect way to start October, personally.
Absolutely.
Thank you, James Kaiser, for always bringing us new and interesting flow artists to see. All right. So let us get on with our main interview. Just like dude, you told him, yeah, sometimes we run like to the 15. So like look at the time. We're perfect.
Oh yeah, it's 17.
John, thank you for tuning in. Kevin, I want to thank all the people that were jumping on while our flow was going on. Zach. But our guest tonight, I am very, very excited about. I had the pleasure and the honor of meeting this gentleman about 2 years ago. I came out to actually one of his classes in San Francisco. And at that time, he had just won the TSL tournament. And for those that don't know, what does TSL stand for, Ezra?
The Saber Legion?
The Saber Legion. Woo! You get a cookie. All right. So the Saber Legion, he was at that time, I don't know if he had just won. I think he had won his second one at that time. And that is a huge deal. Saber Legion gets together once a year in Vegas, and they have their final competitions there. ESPN has come out and videotaped that and had played the finals on ESPN. This gentleman has been on television shows. He's been on Good Morning America. He's been on television shows all over the country. We are lucky to have him in the Bay Area, and we're even more lucky to have him on tonight here on Kyber Game Presents Saber Rattle. So with no further ado, please give it up for Mr. Alain bloch. For all those haters out there that say you can't fight with a NeoPixel.
Hello there.
How are you tonight?
I'm feeling good. The force is strong.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I feel so privileged to have you, especially on a Friday night, because I know Friday is your busy night, right?
Yeah. So tonight we're actually training. I'm down in Southern California in San Diego. Big shout out to everyone, Friedel and everyone else who's making that possible. I just moved here a year ago from the Bay Area, and they've been really warm and welcome. And now I'm actually hosting the training for the local TSL group here in my backyard. I got like a little training course and everything. So
literally in your backyard?
Literally in my backyard. It's a big backyard. That's one of the things that drew me down here. And my girlfriend,
Right. And you're in SoCal, so you can do outdoor practice all year long.
Oh, yeah, the weather here is remarkable, I have to say. I feel spoiled. It's like I only want like 72.5 degrees. That's like perfect, and
right.
The thermostat is at all the time. But
We're
yeah.
never gonna get you back to Northern California.
Oh no, yeah, no. I'll definitely be back. I come fairly regularly. But yeah, that clip that you just showed. Just want to give a shout out to David Laudenslager, who was the guy who helped me debut that rule set, which used not only the pixel blades, which you can, and believe it or not, they're fairly resilient. They're really resilient. The only thing you kind of have to watch out for are the tips, because a lot of times they're screwed on, and you just got to
Right.
make sure that they're on solid. But they
Right.
actually hit a lot harder because they're filled with
Right. There's more
LEDs.
weight.
Yeah. So believe it or not, they're actually they carry a little bit more oomph than even your heavy grades. But yeah, we fought with those. The sabers were provided by Vader's Vault. They're actually, I think, this is one of them that I'd used up here, and it turned out great. What was cool about that fight too is that we actually I had a little hack where we took the speaker output, right, and I kind of hot wired it to a radio transmitter, like for a microphone.
Right.
It required a little electronic wizardry, but we had it so then the actual saber swings and all the sounds were being piped through a PA. And over the PA, that music was playing. So everything that you were listening to was actually there. Like that was the full experience. We were using the music as a way to time our fight.
Right.
Yeah, we had the music locked to like 90 seconds. So yeah, 90 seconds too. I think 2 minutes, but yeah, it was quite extraordinary because you could hear the hum,
Right.
And when you actually feel the hum coming through a PA,
Right.
like the bass of it, you're like, ooh. And we really wanted to give something a little bit extra, something like, oh wow, this is
Right.
so it is almost like watching a Jedi and a Sith fight in real life.
Now for that demonstration, and I know you were introducing the new rule set too, which is absolutely fantastic. That was the continuous fighting rule set, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the official name is for it, but it's the one where instead of taking a hit and backing up, you just keep going until the end of the time, correct?
Well, we do back up. So when you have an engagement and then someone makes contact with the other person, the rules is that you have to back up so that you're out of measure, so that you can't just swing the person. So you'll see us coming back and forth. This was the continuous fighting rule set was inspired by a bout at another tournament, a HEMA tournament. It was a historical European martial arts tournament called Swordfish, and they did continuous fighting. And David had showed it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really cool." I like just how it's continuous and flowing,
Right?
Just like you might expect in a movie. So yeah, it's called the Unity rule set. It's still being tweaked and refined and hashed out by the Saber Legion. They have like a rules committee, and so we're still kind of fine tuning it a little bit. But we've done some exhibition matches over the past couple years, and been showing people and getting feedback around it. So any feedback actually people might have from watching that would be great. What do you liked about it?
Well, actually, even Tony just is making a comment right here saying, "Great rule set, another inspiration for the one that we use."
Oh, great! Cool. Thanks,
See,
Tony.
you're influencing people all the way across the country already.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So
Tony,
now, I do know, you are most known for the Saber Legion. You are the two-time champion of the Saber Legion competitions. But do you do other, will you do Lightspeed, or do you do other things as well? Other rule sets?
Yeah, I actually know Kang Snow really well, and I went to the first Lightspeed tournament in Vegas, and I had a great time. Met the champion Matthew Dominguez, and even he comes out here. Matthew he's a great guy. So yeah, I really like that rule set, and it's very fast, and when you take thrusts, out of the equation,
Right.
you have a lot of these Molinets going, and it looks it could look really, really good. And I know
Right.
that they've also changed their rule set a little bit too now, where there's more of this sort of right of way kind of
Right.
thing going on, which I find really interesting. So yeah, I like it all. I
Right.
definitely uh, I I really like how it's been exploding, not just in America, but all over the world.
Right.
I mean, even Ludo Sport. I know those guys over there. Big shout out to them. Um, they did classes out in the Bay Area, and then I attended, and so I know those guys really well, and really, really just yeah, respect what they're doing out there.
Right. Right. Does it make it difficult to go? Like, do you ever like get into a I don't know, like a light speed battle, and then all of a sudden find yourself in TSL rules, or do you find
Oh
it
yeah.
easy to departmentalize?
Uh, it's so yeah, yes and no. Definitely when like the thrust, for example. I definitely like to do thrusts. I've done classical, uh, French foil fencing, and I think even Kang did some epee work
Right.
too, but or foil work as well. So it was interesting when that was taken out, and then hilt shots. That was another interesting one that.
Right.
And I really like to bind up, along the suba. Like I
Right.
actually use that because that comes from my longsword. So it definitely takes acclimating. Any rule set takes acclimation. It's a different game, right?
Right. Right.
There's a lot of board games out there. A lot of them have dice. A lot of them, you move your character around the board, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one translates to the other very easily. There's different strategies, and there's always the meta games that go into it as well.
Right, right. Now, I want to back up a little bit because we've been talking about these different groups and organizations, things that you've done. But why don't we let people know kind of how you got into
Yeah.
sabering in general? Like, take us back to the beginning. You don't have to take us, to the operating room where mom was birthing you. But how did you get into sabers in general? Was
Yeah.
it just through Star Wars? Was it what's your story, man?
Yeah. Well, gosh, if you want to go way back, I honestly, I mean, I've always liked Star Wars. When I played Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm kind of dating myself a little bit, but when I played Knights of the Old Republic, that really blew me away, and kind of reignited my passion. But it wouldn't be until years later where I started a choreography group with a gentleman named Novastar.
Right.
It really started to happen. We started a choreography group called the Golden Gate Knights down in the Bay Area, and that's where I met you as one of the
Yes.
classes. And that was just lightsaber choreography. Though we also did a lot of flow, just like the gentleman that you showed earlier. We did actually some double saber flow, and that double Obiani spin and the double reverse Obiani spin that guy did, not very easy. So
Right.
hands off to him. He would make Darth Revan proud, for sure. But yeah, Novastar, you might know him. He's done like the Saber fonts. He's really known for Saber fonts. He
Yes.
also released a couple DVDs on lightsaber choreography. Him and Mark Preeter,
Okay.
and I don't know if you can still get them nowadays, but they were really some of the OGs in the Saber community because you know around that time, like there wasn't a whole lot of lightsaber manufacturers. They were making their own.
Right.
In fact, when I met him, all the lightsabers that he had built himself. So he was like building them, had all the saber fonts and everything. So yeah, he was also a fencer, and he did tricking.
Mhm.
Even know what tricking is, it's this sort of like acrobatic kind of uh, kicks and things like that. I think that came out of like XMA Taekwondo sort of stuff. But you'll see these guys doing these. It basically looks like uh, the what's it form 4, right? Form
Ataru.
4. If like yeah, it's straight
Right.
up the Taro. So he could do all this crazy stuff, and I was just in awe. So we created it, and it really took off very quickly. And we had it going. gosh, it's 9 years. 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I moved now to down here in San Diego, I kind of passed the torch on to the guys that are still there. Guys like Lee, Brandon Reddick, who's a great Darth Vader, a bunch of other amazing people, and they now they kind of reformed the group. They're now called the Lux Saber Corps. So if there's anyone in the Bay Area who's interested, you could check that out, the Lux Saber Corps. You can Google it, and I think you might have the website somewhere on the
I know we had it on our slide at the beginning, and we'll definitely bring that up. Our fabulous director will bring that up at different points too.
So funny story though. So I'll keep on going a little bit. Because it comes into the Saber Legion and everything else that's going on, because there was a time when we brought in this guy named Tom Badillo, who comes from FMA, Filipino martial arts, Eskrima, Kali, Arnis background. And he's also into single stick fencing. And he's really kind of in touch with the HEMA community and the Western martial arts community. He came in and was teaching us some cool single stick stuff and then some longsword stuff, because the sequel trilogy was just dropping, like The Force Awakens. We have now this crossguard saber, like, ooh, wow, crossguards, what could you do? And we actually had like a mini tournament. We had a bunch of crossguard sabers, and we just threw a mini tournament. And afterwards, a bunch of guys were like, hey, we like to do the choreography, but we also like to do the fighting. I'm like, all right, let's get into the fighting. So then and then the Saber Legion was just forming around that time. And so we started our local charter group in the Bay Area, and the rest is kind of history. We just kept going. So we were there since the beginning, the first TSL tournament back in 2016, 15, something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and let me back up just a little bit. What year roughly did you kind of start getting around into sabers, and when you started your group? What?
2011.
2011, right?
2011, 2010.
And I want to say that it was roughly 2003 or 2005 that Master Replicas started putting out the first kind of production line sabers. So really, I mean, you've really been in this, I mean, if not from the beginnings, from very close to the beginning of when this started becoming into the mainstream, when it started, stop being guys in their garage making lightsabers and other companies seeing the opportunities.
Yeah, my first lightsaber was a 2003 Master Replica Darth Vader, and I beat that thing to death. It was an acrylic blade, right? And so I had dead spots in it and everything, but I didn't care because I like to fight and do all this other stuff.
Right.
So yeah. I guess you could say in a matter of speaking, but definitely I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. There was people who did all those innovations, like making the polycarbonate blades and the single like LED hilts, and of course Irv Plechter, who just kind of revolutionized the entire scene. So yeah, I'm definitely not first gen or anything like that. There are a lot of guys who came before me and been fighting and doing this for a long time, but I definitely am very passionate about it.
Right. Well, as modest as you may or may not want to be about the situation, I think there's no denying that, when history books are written about the early days of the saber community, that your name is definitely going to be something that is part of, the history of the saber community. Yeah. How does it feel like, I'm sure you just felt like this is just something me and like a bunch of my friends wanted to do. And now you're like this very respected person in the saber community. How does it feel to be in this kind of like weird genre, right?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the compliments. I really do appreciate that. And coming.
I'm not saying anything that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the funny, like, So the internet always remembers. So it's been funny at times to like Google my name and seeing some of the articles that come up. Like it's some of them, are very tongue in cheek, because this is, very strange sort of mixture of like nerdy, geeky things. Um, and the entire like Star Wars, there's so much to this culture, like to the point where there are like subcultures of subcultures of subcultures. You have
Right.
like the greater Star Wars community, and
Right.
then tucked away in there you have like the collectors, and then you
Right.
have like the cosplayers, right? And then you have the people who like to make things from the movies. So like to
Right.
make the prop makers, and then you have the droid makers, and then the prop makers. There's even a sub one of just lightsabers, just lightsabers. And then you have
Right.
this other community who's like wanting to take those lightsabers and then twirl them around, and then there's another one that wants to take those lightsabers and fight with them, and
Right.
then there's the smaller one over. It's a wide galaxy of
Right.
fandoms out there. And so yeah, I've always had my sort of aspirations. As far as the choreography goes, I think our first like debut with the Golden Gate Knights, our first public performance was with an orchestra. I was doing a John Williams Star Wars suite, and
Wow.
it was amazing, and it really just got me into the art of choreography, of
Right.
just sort of telling a story through body language,
Right.
and who doesn't like big
Right.
light swords waving around. And so yeah, it's a gateway to a wider world in
Right.
a lot of ways. I like fantasy. I think for me it's just being allowed to participate has been just the greatest thing of all. Being able to uh, create stories and tell them to people. Um, it's just been awesome. As far as the fighting goes, that's also really. I've always been a martial artist since I was a kid, and did various things, but it really was the lightsaber that made me really start to focus on martial arts.
Hmm.
Um, and that has taken me a lot of different places. In fact, for the past few years, because of the lightsaber, I've been part of a martial arts group called the Western Circle of Sword Fighters, that they do steel fighting, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So from the lightsaber, then I got into actual kind of Western martial arts, fighting with real swords and
Right.
armor and everything, and that kind of leads on and on and on. So yeah, it's just been a wonderful journey along the way, and everyone who I've met has just been awesome. It takes a certain kind of person, right, to be okay with you hitting them with a big cold cardinate blade, and then afterwards saying like, "Thank you, that was great."
Right. Let's go
There's
get a
this,
beer.
yeah, there's a certain relationship.
Right.
You can get quite close, and so yeah, you definitely feel this connection. In the Saber Legion, we like to say that we're united through sabers, and I
Right.
really feel that. Really feel that.
Right. Well, now I feel like you are, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to tell your history. Obviously, you know what you did, but it seems like your history is very interesting in that because when you started Golden Gate Knights in the choreography, it's not that other people weren't doing, but it was very few and far between, right? Like there'd be like a group on the East Coast and just a few. It was still very kind of an underground, very niche thing, because that's obviously long before Disney had, even thought about Lucasfilm and stuff, and before it was cool to be a nerd. Um, but then even still, like I find it unique that at the beginning of TSL, which is this whole like you're talking about all these divisions of divisions of divisions, that's a whole nother separate group, and you were also there for the ground floor. It's like you're at every fire, man. You're the suspect for every fire that we got burning.
I
How
like
do you
I
find
like
yourself
fires.
in these positions?
Oh, I mean, because I'm just a huge fan. So when I see people start stuff, I'm just like, oh, what's this all about? And I like to jump in just sort of head first. Apart from like the East Coast, there's the New York Jedi. There's also in the West Coast the Saber Guild, right?
Right.
And they were very unique too, in that they were kind of doing the cosplay thing, but then also bringing in the choreography, and they were doing the halftime show at
Right.
San Diego Comic-Con, and that's actually after the Golden Gate Knights did their first performance. We were contacted by the Saber Guild and said, "Hey, we really like what you guys are doing. Why don't you come join up with us?" So we got involved with that. That's how we kind of then we started a local Saber Guild charter here too, or in the Bay Area. So we got involved with that. But yeah, every time I'm starting to hear about this sort of stuff, I'm like, ooh, what's this? The Terra Prime guys too, the TPLA.
Right.
They do some really cool stuff, and so I'm always like interested to see what's going on, and I welcome these kinds of discussions too. So yeah, I'm just a huge fan, and I I I I never like to feel like I'm things need to be this way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
like no, there's 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 a plethora of expressions. It's art, right? And I think every person kind of brings their own piece to it. So I really like to see what people do with it all the time.
Right.
Yeah, even in the Golden Gate Nights, I always sort of stressed like, hey, try to find your path along this, because ultimately, one day you're going to walk it, by yourself. Now I'm down here, and those guys, they feel emboldened and I guess you could say educated enough to take it on, and that's what they've been doing. So
Right.
I like to see other people being creative.
Right. Yeah, I look at your kind of experiences or what I know of you, and I kind of like it's kind of like I look at you and it's almost like do you know when you're in a moment? You know what I mean? Do you know when you're creating history as you're doing it? Because like I look at you like almost like a Dave Grohl, right? Like, did he know when he was in Nirvana that he would go down at that just him and his buddies playing in the garage would turn into something that is now emulated by other people, and other people are trying to copy and do the same thing. When you're doing these things, when it was you and your buddy in the park, your friends doing Golden Gate Nights, and even in the early days of TSL, did you have any conception or knowledge that this would be something that kids, in Texas would see Golden Gate Nights and they want to start their own club?
No, no, no. I will say this though, I was passionate, and I think even Dave Grohl can say to it, it's like, hey, he was following his passion, and if anyone has followed that path before, when you follow your passion, great things happen no matter what. That's where the fire and the light, really starts to shine and really starts to burn.
Right.
So the people who I was with, very very passionate, and so was I. Like I was excited, I was thrilled. I'm excited to go and outside and fight these guys. It's just so much fun. So yeah, I mean, I think you don't think of history, you just think like, this is great. I love
Right.
this. I love this, and I want this to continue. And that resonates with other people too.
Right. 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 Wow. And actually, you can let people know because you have actually a group going on right now outside, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, I
Didn't it
think
start
so.
at 7:30 or something like that?
Yeah,
Is
the
that what
guys
I
should
was
be
told?
trickling in. Yeah.
So as you're moving forward, like I said, you're very well known in TSL. You said you work with Kang and these other groups. What is really catching your interest right now? Is it the moving to the steel? Are you just having fun with lots of different things? Are you concentrating on fighting? Are you doing more choreo, more flow, maybe?
um One thing that I've really seen is that lightsabers is a gateway to a lot of other things, right?
Right, right, right.
And and so I've seen a lot of people, yeah, right. Darth Morbidius, totally, yeah. There's something correct about the Sith code where, like, from
Yes.
passion can come strength. Yeah, and that's something I think even the Jedi could agree. So the I see where people they take up the lightsaber and it changes their lives in really positive ways. I've seen people. Um, I know this person named Phoenix. They came in with their daughter into a class one day, and they had never done any sort of like physical sport or activity ever, but they were, you know, geeks like me and
Right.
love Star Wars, and they picked it up and they started doing it and they realized, hey, I can actually do this, and it's transformed their life. um, where they're doing Western martial arts and
Wow.
steel fighting, and that, yeah, and it's confidence building too. So
Right.
I really want to see how we can, as a community, you know be very inviting, and then
Right.
kind of lead people to self actualize, if that makes any sense, like make people
Right.
feel like truly who they want to be. As far
Mhm.
as like the martial arts go, I think there are ways that the saber sports can train people to um then go into martial arts and
Right.
be successful.
Right.
So that's where some of the Unity rule set kind of came in, because I wanted to see a little bit more of the crossover of
Right.
what people are doing in martial arts and what we can do within the Saber community.
Right. Well, I in particular was going to note on the video that we had right at the beginning before you came on. I noticed a very kendo guard opening. You were switching up your guards a lot, and it felt like there was influence from different sword practices. So I could see, you know what I mean? I could see how martial arts and some of these other. It wasn't just like you were coming in with just just a kendo background or just a
Right.
fencing background.
Right.
I could see how you were changing it up and how it really makes a difference out on the fighting field.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. The different stances, the different types, the footwork, right? Just even how you are striking, the body mechanics, right?
Mhm.
That all translates well. I mean, in choreography too, you have to look like you're fighting, right?
Right,
So that's why a lot of martial artists make great fight, choreographers and stunt people, right?
right, right,
Jackie Chan, look at that. Like, he would not be as successful if he hadn't trained from a very young age in martial arts.
right,
So there is that crossover that always happens, or is can happen, and I want to be able to see kind of more in that in the saber sparring and fighting. I think there are ways that we can make it more. I don't want to say realistic, but just make it so that the techniques that you see in martial arts
right,
are successful in this setting as well. Because rules, it's we're not really fighting. Like, fighting, there are no rules, right?
right, 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 right.
Except for the Geneva Conventions, right? But
Hopefully, nobody's
anything goes.
breaking those during
Yeah,
saber battles.
yeah. No tear gas. So I would like to see that, because sometimes people, because they're doing the metagaming, they don't want to bring in certain types of techniques into their saber play.
Right,
So and that's like, that can be a little discouraging in some ways. So I want to see how we can kind of bridge that gap, because I would like to see the martial arts enthusiasts look at us and say, hey, this is cool, this is pretty legit, and appreciate it and even want to kind of jump into it. And then conversely, I want to see people who are new to martial arts, having taken up the saber, and then go into an actual martial arts setting and be successful there too, and feel like, oh
right,
cool, actually this set me up for success
right,
in a lot of ways. So yeah, that's one thing. um I'd also like to see, as far as just the presentation of saber fighting, to be more like the movies, and I think that's something that, as a fan, we have our own sort of like perception of what we're doing, like, and but then there could be other perceptions. There's like the wider sort of audience and expectations that they might have. So one of the things about that the Unity rule set, or at least that video, is that we wanted to make it feel like people were watching a movie,
Right.
watching the Star Wars movie. So you even see like the way we dressed. I was trying to look more Sith-like with the armor and everything, and
Right.
David was trying to look more like a Jedi. And you could hear the sounds, and there was the music, and there was all this flashy movement. That was all a part of trying to evoke the things that we like about Star Wars in that fight.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because I think as far as it not only being more fun to watch and entertaining, it's just more evocative, and I think it just kind of does it more justice.
Right. Hey, really quickly, John Alexander Jimenez said, "Thanks, Alan." I think that was from earlier you're talking about, and Kang Snow must have heard you say his name because he made a comment. He said, "Hi guys." There was a question directly. It said, "There we go. Sorry, are slides and strikes loud?" I'm not sure what strikes necessarily what he means by strikes. I've never seen anybody slide at a match.
Oh, I mean, have you seen Darth Revan, Daniel, uh, uh, do some of his stuff?
I apparently not.
Oh, um, yeah. Shoot. Uh, I've seen people like do dive rolls and
uh,
like swipe at the legs.
oh wow!
Yeah, yeah. I've seen people
Wait,
jump in
in the
the
full
air.
like in TSL armor?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Um, there was this guy, this kid named James, who I believe it was James, who fought me in the pools, the first pool at TSL 5. Um, TSL 5 or for one of those. No, not 5. Is 5 on there? No. Anyways, at TSL 5, and he did this really cool strike where he went low and then he
Right.
jumped in the air and he did this like inverted sort of strike on my head. It was amazing. It
Wow.
was I stopped like after the fight. I was just like, that was so cool. Keep it up. Because no one else was doing it. No one,
Right.
because like I said, sometimes the metagame can kind of get people to think, oh, I should or should not do sort of stuff. So it
Right.
kind of leads people to fight in certain sort of patterns. But I like to see people innovate. And so yeah, whatever you're talking about, John, sliding and striking, go for it, man. Go for
Nice.
it.
And
Try it out.
it's interesting that you're talking about that because I know Tony Negron at Aiken Academy and Faisal in London. I was talking to them and they were talking about exploring different rule sets and stuff and really trying to make it. I think a lot of times, because when we do our battles, of course, when you're in there, the adrenaline's flowing and it's pumping and stuff. And it's fun and exciting for us, but it's not quite as interesting from the benches. Not quite as like they're expecting to see, Obi-Wan flips and things like that. It's just a
Right.
quick strike or something like that. So they were really exploring different rule sets. They were, the right of ways and things like that to
Mhm.
make it more visually appealing for the audience in order to kind of grow the sports in general.
Right. Right. Yeah, there was that one clip that was going around, right, where it was like, "Whoa, lightsabers now part of the Olympics," and you saw these guys do this. I think these Russian guys, they were doing this really amazing choreographed fight. It was like single saber versus the saber staff. You know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like pow, 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 pow. And it was just, yeah, it went viral a lot of times. And you saw like that's what people wanted. That's what
Right.
people really wanted.
Right.
So however we can kind of bring more of that, I think, and still make it kind of martially sound. That
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
Uh, I think the better off we are. I don't know if you've seen a lot of like HEMA tournaments, but there's some really cool stuff that goes on in HEMA tournaments
Right.
that I think your audience would appreciate. And I'm always just thinking like, yeah, that would look so much cooler if they had lightsabers in their hands. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right.
And people were wearing, Jedi regalia and that sort of stuff. And there was some
Right.
some John Williams-esque music playing in the background.
And it's hard, when you're doing something, when it's you or your buddy or just a few guys. There are certain things, if I accidentally hurt you, you're not going to sue me, right? But when you're trying to think of a game that everybody can play and it's going to be fair and balanced, and it becomes much more difficult. We had wanted to do, like, I love the idea of being able to do grabs and things like that, grabbing somebody's hilt, you know what I mean? But then or maybe a shoulder bump, you know what I mean? Like, but where do you draw the line on some of these things? It's difficult, so that
Yeah.
it's so that people out in Iowa that you've never met before can play the same game
Right.
and not kill each other.
Right. Right. It is about safety, and with safety, there are trade-offs, right? In terms of what is the the bar of entry, right?
Right.
So there's like a cool fighting league called Buhurt, right? In the Armored Combat League, and so they're in full, steel armor,
Oh,
some
wow.
titanium armor, and they are, it's as medieval as you can kind of get in a
Right.
sense, and they do team fighting, and
Mhm.
they'll do throws and kicks
Oh,
and
wow.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's almost like to submission, kind
Right,
of
right,
fighting,
right.
and they're doing full on, and it's really cool to look at, but also exceptionally dangerous.
Right.
And in order to get all this armor and these weapons, it can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Right.
So the bar of entry is pretty high, and a lot of people that want to be a part of the saber sport, like they probably only have enough money to afford some lightsaber and a little bit of equipment. So how do you make things so that it's still just as exciting but also safe? So yeah,
Right,
I
right,
think
right.
I think there are lots of different ways to explore that with different rule sets, right? There's rule sets where it's like, hey, a light touch counts,
Mhm.
and that lends itself to people not hitting very hard. They're just trying to do a light touch.
Right.
There are rule sets where certain targets are valid and certain targets are not valid. Um, there certain strikes are valid, certain strikes are not valid, and so I think that plethora of types of rules can then people can try to assemble something that's reasonably safe and also fun to do and exciting to watch. So
Right.
we'll see. I think like what Tony is doing, what Kang is doing, what TSL is doing, what Ludosport is doing is like they're all like different kind of combinations of these different types of rules. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see
Right.
we'll see what really takes off. I think it's still open for innovation.
Right. We're gonna get ready. It's amazing how quickly 40 minutes goes by. I
Yeah.
cannot thank you enough. This has been an absolute thrill for me to get to interview you. But I wanted to ask you, I am I am a I'm somewhat of a person who likes to examine culture and pop culture and things like that. One of the things that I found is that it seems like when things hit their 20-year mark, they come into kind of this golden period. And I feel like the Saber community is right there on the verge of that. I feel like right now I'm seeing more and more of these smaller Saber companies, people that want to try out their own designs. It's not just the big three anymore. There's lots of people out there making their own sabers. Since Disney's bought Star Wars, it's now, geek is chic. You know what I mean? You don't have to hide out in the backyards as much. What do you see? Do you see do you see sabering growing and evolving into different things as it kind of has mutated already? Or do
Yeah.
you think we're coming to an end of it? Do you think we're coming into an explosion? Where do you think we are in this whole grand scheme of sabering?
Uh, First of all, I just saw Tony. Thanks, Tony. Definitely would love to go out there and cross blades with you guys at the Aiken Saber Academy. Very cool. I think it's only the beginning, right? I think what we're seeing, right? Like let's think about just the evolution of the lightsaber over just the past decade, right? or the past 20 years. Like 20 years ago, we would not have been able to see, you know, uh, a polycarbonate blades and all this types of variety, and smooth swing, and
Right.
so the more interest, right, that happens, I think the more innovation that we'll see, right? And now, Disney's got the entire build your own lightsaber experience. I mean, that's just gonna, there's gonna be more and more people inspired that are gonna want to participate. And like, hey, they're gonna take that saber, they're gonna want to fight with it. By the way,
Right.
you can modify those Savi lightsabers to be dual worthy. I don't know if you know.
Yes.
I've hacked one. So anyone out there, feel free. So yeah, I think it's only just the beginning. We have now different almost generations that are kind of coming into it. And we look at the sequel trilogy where, hey, they were actually using polycarbonate blades,
Right.
for their choreography, right?
Right.
Those weren't rotoscoped, carbon fiber blades that we saw in the prequel trilogy. Those were polycarbonates. And I believe that even the people who made those lightsabers were saber builders coming
Wow.
coming from the community.
Right.
So I think the fan communities, as we've seen even with the Mandalorian, where they recruited people from the 501st,
Yes.
where the droid builders, like, they were involved with the sequel trilogy and the building of BB-8 and some of the R2 units. like
Right.
like they're going to become more involved, with as fans, we can become more involved with this emerging, Star Wars is not going to go away,
Right.
as we've seen with the Star Wars Visions and the Mandalorian and all these other properties that are coming out. It's here to stay, which means that there's going to be a lot more people inspired and wanting to take up the saber.
Right. Absolutely. And where do you see yourself in all of this going forward? Like I said, I find you've been in this very unique. I don't even know if it was a reluctant position, but you've just been kind of at the forefront of all these different things. Where do you see yourself going forward?
Well, as you can see, I'm going forward with the lightsaber in my hand. However, have it turns out, it looks like I might be going to the Aiken Saber Academy at some point. So
Woohoo!
yeah, I just hope to be, wherever I'm at, I'm still swinging.
Right. Well, Alan, I want to thank you so much for being on with us. I know you've got people in the backyard waiting for you, but I very much appreciate your time. We've had a bunch of people, in fact, Melody, Russell, Joseph, and William. I want to thank. Oh, William, that was our guest for tonight, William Harvey. I want to thank you guys for popping in here and coming to check out Alan.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Joe.
We will be throwing up there. Ezra's going to throw up there your information for how to contact you. Is there anything you want to let people know before we exit for tonight?
Yeah, just again, shout out to the Lux Saber Corps. So if you're interested in the choreography, if you're interested in doing some martial arts, definitely check out the Western Circle, westerncircle.org. There's a bunch of different classes. They're all free, and some of the best martial artists I've ever seen. And that's where I really began to excel. And of course, the Saber Legion, there's a bunch of Facebook groups out there. Coming up, and this is the latest and greatest, dropping this here first, right?
We get an exclusive.
You get an exclusive. I am going to be fighting for the World Championship title, the TSL World Championship title, next month in Florida at the Sun Crusher event. Myself and Mark Carrico, who
He
got
was the
first
winner
place
this year, right?
Yeah, I got first. He beat me, and then he went to take first place. Alec Martinez, he came in second, and I came in third. So we're going to be duking it out for the World Championship title.
Wow, this is like WWE or something. You're gonna get all oiled up and start flexing for the audience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and there's going to be a bunch of other really great fights. Alec Martinez, he's going to be fighting David Laudenslager, who's another great fighter.
Yeah. Holy goodness. Really quickly, do you know, is that going to be something that people will be able to watch online,
Yep.
or do they have to be at the event?
No, that they're TSL has a great media team, and so they're going to be setting that one up so that there will be a broadcast. So just sign up on Facebook, and you'll be getting the news about it on the TSL, TSL Facebook group.
Right. Hey, Alan, after the show, you're going to have to go back and look at all the comments because all these people are talking to you. There's like too many coming in. I can't keep up with them. All right. Hey, thank you so much. You have yourself a wonderful Saber practice, and hopefully we will have you on the show again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. May the force be with you.
And also with you. Take care. Thank you.
No, we're still tied up.
This one's a nail biter. Carico goes into the knee, misses, and rides it right up.
Split decision. What does the director see? Lou gets the count. 7-6.
Oh,
5 seconds. Red gets the point. We're going to overtime. Sudden death. Hold on.
time was called. Did the point get in?
In the last half second, Red wins the match.
Alain coming out with the flourishes.
Oh my goodness. I literally just coughed coffee all over my face, dude. It was so good. That battle with, I didn't realize we had that with Mark on there too. Mark was the winner of TSL this year. And he is with Shadow Crest Designs.
Awesome. I didn't realize that either. I also thought I edited that to be longer. I have this open. I was about to take a swig, and then
Right, and then we're back on.
Hi.
Let's see. We had a lot of people jump on. That was actually a really fantastic. What did you think?
That was fantastic.
Did you know anything about Alan before this?
Nothing. All I knew is what I was told by you and him. TSL champ, founder of Golden Gate Knights. That's about it. That's all I knew. And he also told me that he was on Good Morning America. And
we didn't even talk to him. Oh God, I didn't even talk to him about all of like the big national attention stuff that he's been getting.
Yeah.
Or that he has gotten because he is a fantastic fighter. I want to say really quick, shout out to William too, because William Harvey was our flow for tonight, and he came on during that segment.
Yeah. He was saying that he's watching it from the beginning, so he's far behind us right now.
Oh, okay, he's like way back there.
He's way back there. So,
well, what's up when you get here? It'll be like time traveling. All right, my friend. Hey, we have an exciting segment on our show. I never get I've gotten the name right once.
You got it right today.
This is the third time. This will be the second or third one we do. This is number 3.
This is number
Woo-hoo.
3.
I am very, very excited. As we go forward, we're going to be trying different techniques.
And he's caught up.
Huh?
He's caught up.
Oh,
that was quick.
We're going to be changing the segment a little bit and being able to give you a little bit of better visuals. But we are very, very lucky. Just like we're lucky to have Darth Cephalus, James Kaiser, one of the OGs for the flow. Lucky to have him on staff. We are also very lucky to have this next gentleman. He goes by the name of Mr. Kevin Hogan. And if you live in the state of California and have ever been to a con, you probably run into this guy. This guy literally goes, I think he went to like 2 or 3 last week.
Probably knowing him. He goes
from
to so many
Ren fairs, every con that you can think of from here to Fresno. So he is in our new report, Comic-Con Adventures with Kevin, right?
Kevin Hogan?
With Kevin Hogan. Okay, I can credit. I knew his last name. Comic-Con Adventures with Kevin Hogan. Roll that tape.
Thanks, Kyber Cave. Hey, everyone. This is Kevin Hogan here in Benicia, California, talking about Comic-Con Adventures. For those of you that went there or may remember, last weekend was Heroes and Villains Weekend at the Northern California Renaissance Fair in Hollister, California, near Santa Cruz. Myself, Marty McFly, was there, and there were lots of other fun medieval characters and time travelers like Captain Hook and a pirate Deadpool and lots of other fun knights in shining armor and jousting going on. Now, if you haven't had a chance, the Northern California Renaissance Fair in Hollister does continue through October 24th, so head on down next weekend if you haven't had a chance to and get your best medieval armor and costumes on there. If you're here in the Bay Area at Pleasanton or the Alameda County Fairgrounds, next coming weekend is the Powerhouse Comic-Con, so head on over and check that out if you like. Well, thanks for catching up. Back to you guys at Kyber Cave Studio.
Woohoo!
Hey.
So Powerhouse Comic Con, that is what is this weekend. Hey, there's Kevin right there. Find it. Yeah, so Powerhouse.
Oh no, flex
Con,
given.
that is the Pleasanton Con, but it's in Alameda. It's at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. Distance Nerding is actually going to be there for that. James, I know James from Distance Nerding is going to be there, and I believe the Fresno Deadpools are going to be there as well. So that is that's actually going to be Pleasanton Fairgrounds is Powerhouse Comic Con. Yes. So that is going to be, that sounds like it's going to be a powerhouse show.
Gotta love puns, man.
All right, Mr. Ezra, we're coming here now near to the end of the show. For those that that don't know, we changed our format a little bit. We now end with our TikTok of the week is our kind of our outro going out. So before TikTok of the town.
Talk of the town.
Talk of the town. TikTok. Talk of the town. Yes.
You named it.
I know. You would think I would get these things right? All right. Anything you want to let everybody know before we take off for the week, Ezra?
Yes, actually. Help out our friends at Rebel Cause Lancaster.
Rebel Cause Lancaster. Woohoo! Always can use your help. Such a wonderful cause out there in Lancaster, helping out people in their community in need of help. So please help them and help out these people too. Help out Kyber Cave. Make sure to check out kybercave.com. We have new merch up there. We have clearance items from the custom Saber shop. We have pieces in there in clearance. We have some sabers from the company that will not be named that we are selling at the same price that they sell it. The difference is we'll get you your saber this year.
We'll get it to you in a couple weeks.
In a couple of days, homie. I was kidding about the this year part.
I was kidding about the couple weeks.
All right, this segment, what's ticking you talk?
What's ticking you talk, really?
All right. Talk of the town. We will see you guys next week. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in and see you next Friday.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, I think they like me. Yep, in my white tee. Yep, in my white tee. Yeah, call the pipe Williams for the hype, please. They gon' wipe you before you wipe me. Bitch. They try checking the town. On the whole.